Hey, this is Mo, and this is our 36th out of 100 micro power packed episodes, giving you what you need to succeed to grow your book of business, your relationships, and your career. Exciting. This is our 8th set of 5 videos, our first one in the 8th set, and this one's on positioning. This whole set of 5 videos is on positioning. How do you position yourself uniquely so that you can win more often? And what I found is this is very rarely taught. It's a really critical skill so that you can be unique in the mind of the buyer. I honestly cannot, we train between 20 and 25,000 people. I honestly can't think of anybody that's ever been taught this before they enter our classes, except for a few marketing folks, because these are some marketing principles that we're going to apply to your specific expertise. We're going to teach you how to think like a world-class marketer. So here's the deal when it comes to positioning. There's some incredible research done by Al Ries and Jack Trout. Now, this is several decades old now, but what they found is that as we moved through the 1960s and 70s and 80s, that when there were very few people in the marketplace, you could sort of say we're the best at something. Say we're back in the 1950s, we're number one. Well, as we move to a much more advertising, much more of a crowded marketplace, much more nuance and niche businesses, it didn't work to say we're the best. It actually got to a point where it was off-putting to others. So if you say we're number one, or we've got the number one X expertise or Y expertise or whatever, the problem with that is the other side's like, you're not number one, so-and-so's number one. But the point is they've already got an opinion for who's number one. So your ability to say you're the best choice is very limited, and in many cases off-putting. So what you do to accomplish, to get around that, is to try to shape the decision criteria. So what the law of positioning says is the narrow your expertise. I'll do some paraphrasing here in our experience. The more clear you share what you're for and how you're unique, basically what you're doing is you're trying to influence the decision criteria in a very clear and compelling way. And then if the decision maker agrees, those elements of the decision are the most important, you've influenced them so that they only lead to you. So instead of trying to jump all the way to we should be chosen, you actually fall back a step and you say, these are the important things. And by the way, we're really good at these. In fact, we're the only one who would own these things. Now you've got a winner. There's some more I'm going to cover later about how 3 is more believable, 3 is more memorable, 3 is the most effective to communicate. But we're going to cover that in the next couple episodes, and I'm going to show you exactly how to pick 3 things that are unique to you, that if you influence those, you'll be chosen more often. The one thing, so that's coming. The one thing that I also want to get to in this particular episode is Dr. Cynthia Cryder found that, and it makes sense once you hear it, but very uncommonly done. So common wisdom uncommonly done. What Dr. Cryder found in her research is that people do not care about your accolades. They do not care at all that you've won this award, that your chamber's rated, that whatever. What they care about is how that's going to impact them. They care deeply about that. So your accolades are neat, but that doesn't clearly at all. In fact, it doesn't at all really say, well, what does that matter to me in my decision? So I want you to insert. Now, this is our own guidance that I learned from a good friend and facilitator and coach of ours, Marshall. And what he taught me is that you can insert 3 words into talking about your accolades to transition to what that means for the client. The 3 words are, so we can. You can say so you can too if it's appropriate, but let's use so we can here. We've done this type of work 52 times over the last 17 months. That's important so we can blank client benefit. We recently won an award for XYZ. That's important so we can blank. Leverage that experience to help you do this. We recently handled the integration for this large organization and that organization. Well, that's important because they're about twice your size and they had about 13 more business units. That's important so we can bring that expertise to you and do things more efficiently, because we learned a lot in that particular engagement because of the time frame that's going to apply to you. So you see what we're doing here. What we're doing is we're taking accolade or something about us, but we are directly tying it to some kind of benefit to the client. So remember those three words. So we can, you can use so you can, but the idea is that is a transition that says, I've got this accolade, but if you stop there, it sort of sounds like you're bragging about yourself. But if you just add so we can or so you can and talk about that's going to benefit you in this very specific way, all of a sudden the accolade makes sense. It's easier to digest. It's helpful because you've given this very specific reason for them, and that's what they'll remember. So that's what I want to leave this video with right here. Keep it short. Is the trap that you want to avoid is talking about yourself, having too many reasons about yourself, all kinds of other things. We're going to show you how to get to 3 and why 3 is important in the next couple of videos. But in this one, basically simple messages win. So the trap to avoid is not thinking about positioning. The key takeaways: simple is going to win. Conveying information so that it's a clear benefit to the client is going to win. Thinking about what you can communicate that only you own. We're going to get to 3 elements that only you own in a little bit. Making it ridiculously simple, trying to shape the decision criteria, and making it clear how that will benefit the client. Those are the key takeaways I want you to think about here. I know that's still a bit nebulous. I'm going to give you the process for how you go about doing exactly this over the next couple of videos. So there's more to come on that. Interestingly, what I'm going to put down in the show notes, in all these micro lessons, I'm trying to put something down in the show notes that you could dig in deeper if you want to. I'm actually going to put a link to the Cryder research. Her research is incredibly powerful. It's behind a paywall because it's peer-reviewed research, but you can at least grab the abstract and read the abstract if you want to click the link. But the key takeaway is always talk about what you do within the context of how it's going to help the client, and be crystal clear on that, and you'll have a winner. All right, that's the end of this episode. As with all of these, I hope this one helps you help your clients succeed.